Blair. How are you? I haven't seen you for
I am
ages.
good. I know. I miss all my Brisbane people.
Yeah,
But here
we've
we are.
missed you this year. And then coronavirus happened.
I know. How boring.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
It's been quite an amazing time in our lives. I think something we'll remember when we're old and to our grandchildren, huh?
I think so too. I think
Yeah.
so.
It's been mad. Well, so what have you been doing through this whole shutdown and lockdown and everything, not being able to perform and stuff?
Well, I've been through a lot of different things, I guess, ups and downs, you could say. I'm a very goal-orientated person, so having all the goals taken away sort of through me, you know, that's kind of just the way I've practiced and performed for 15, 20 years now. And so having that removed, kind of at the beginning, to be honest, was a relief because I thought, oh, this is great. I just have a little rest.
Yes.
But that only lasted about 3 days before I started to go a little bit like, oh, this is not good. And now here we are in July in month 4. And creatively things have changed in a way, of course, because we're working more digitally. I haven't been that proactive, I must admit, but I have had the opportunity to do some pretty awesome projects, especially with Australian composers, some emerging composers as well.
Yep.
But everything is for solo cello, which is something that I like anyway.
Yes.
But I do miss my chamber music as well.
Absolutely. I think we're really going to appreciate it when we get to perform together.
Oh, it's going to be massive, I think.
Absolutely. Yes. But it's been interesting because, like right now, I mean, I'd never done a Zoom meeting before coronavirus, and we've all been forced to learn tech skills and, you know, do all these sorts of things that we've been putting in the too hard basket all this time. So, you know, how's that affected you really?
The tech stuff is definitely not my strong suit. You know, this is probably partially one of the reasons why I adore classical music so much and acoustic instruments and the nature of performing without even amplification 99% of the time is because I love the old world. I love the idea of that. And so this new wave of technology that I've been sort of forced to work with has been a little bit tricky for me, and but I'm getting there. Hence, fancy new microphones. Well,
funnily, I had a quick look at what you'd been doing in Google, and I saw you even recorded sitting outside on a park bench, which I was just super impressed with. It looked gorgeous, just sitting there on the cello, playing in nature, and so that's not something you would have done normally, is it?
No, absolutely not. Actually, to be honest, I loathe playing outside, but
we all do.
Because the nature of acoustics, there's no acoustic for us. And but that particular film outside, that park is just over the road from where I am now. That's my local park in St Vincent's Place, South Melbourne. And autumn in Melbourne is just one of the most spectacular times of year. So I decided that it would be a nice thing to do to go out and record that film for the Melbourne Recital Centre in my park. However, to get that one shot, that one video, it took about 10 goes because everybody thought I was giving them a free concert.
Oh, no.
And I wasn't.
Did you get money busking?
No. I got a lot of people asking to request for me to play things like Fly Me to the Moon or some Bach or something like that. And I said, oh, I'm actually filming a thing at the moment. And perhaps afterwards I could play you something. And then, of course, they just move on. And anyway, we finally got the shot we needed. We finally got it, and it was very fun.
That's fantastic. We really need to weatherproof our instruments so we can go outside more often, don't we?
Well, I was very nervous about that, to be honest. But because Melbourne at that time of year was probably about 9 degrees that morning, and cellos don't really like being that. So I was a bit nervous. We tried to get it done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
To save my cello from freezing to death.
Yes. Well, from one gorgeous background outside to the next, you have just released the most stunning video I saw with a piece by Japanese composer Karen Tanaka in a beautiful art gallery in Sydney. Tell me a bit about that. Did that just come out? Am I correct?
Yes, you are. That's right. We made that film last year, but of course things take time to edit and perfect before they're released into the public space. And we released that a few months ago now. That's a fantastic piece of music. Yeah, it's called The Song of Songs.
Yeah,
and
I was blown away by the music, actually.
Yeah, incredible thing. So she's a Japanese composer who resides in America, and I discovered her music in my usual trend of sort of looking through the internet for unusual pieces, and I'm particularly interested in pieces with electronics.
Yes.
Fixed electronics. I like the idea of being a one-man band kind of thing, and that work, she has composed the second part, the electronic component, through a myriad of found sounds and digital electronic recording sounds too. But it's a matter of actually, you can really put that piece on anywhere because it's just a file that I can play. I've even performed it in private settings just with my phone.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
Yeah, well, what I was amazed is, you know, it's a contemporary art music piece, as most people would say, but it uses electronics in the best possible way. It just adds to the atmosphere, and I think anyone in the world, no matter their musical tastes, would love that piece of music.
I do hope so. Yes, I was really drawn to it.
Yeah, and the electronics just add to the atmosphere. They don't. Yeah, it's not extraneous or at all. It's just a really vast piece of music that is really complemented by the use of electronics.
I actually think of it as a duet, to be honest. The way that they weave together, and I often, as you'll probably hear in the little clip we play, that it weaves the cello and the electronics together, which sometimes you can't hear which is doing what. And I love that sort of otherworldly characteristic it gets.
Absolutely. And then by adding that amazing installation art display on top of it, it's just an absolute feast of incredible art.
Thank you. That was a dream come true, that project. So the artwork is by Gu Wenda, who's a Chinese installation and sculptural artist. The whole work is actually made of silk, and they're floating islands of silk.
Wow.
And it took 5 years to make that particular installation.
Incredible. Yeah.
Quite extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so it was being shown in Sydney at the White Rabbit Gallery, and that's where we did the collaboration, and now it's gone. So that was a floating moment in time that we captured that, and I couldn't have been more happy with the results. It was just a perfect combination of visual and oral feasts, really.
Oh, definitely. It's like a perfect marriage of art.
Yes. Well, as soon as I saw the space, I realised that we had to do something there.
Yeah.
And that was the result. I'm glad you like it.
I love it. And I'm actually looking at a lot more at collaborations with visual art, you know, because music is painting a picture as well, but, you know, an atmosphere with, you know, no words, just music has that special magic that can do that. And when you combine that with art, you know, I think that's just, you know, adding that extra something that I think possibly is where music might be going a little bit in the future.
I think, it can go in lots of directions. That's definitely one of them. I don't think it always needs to have a visual representation, of course, but if it's really married up right, then it can have an overwhelming effect. But sometimes I find visually, if something's too powerful or slightly misdirected, it can overwhelm the music, and
That's
I don't
true,
like that aspect. I want the music to always come first, or to be totally symbiotic.
Yeah, or just complement. You just want
that's right.
Complement what the music's already doing.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, what have you got coming up in the near future besides playing with us in October?
To be honest, it's a pretty quiet calendar at the moment.
Yeah.
We would have been coming up at the moment, of course, to subs 2 with something called Soloists. And then I was scheduled to fly straight to the Townsville Festival for 10 days up there, which would have been fantastic. And then immediately following that, I would have been in Bangalore.
Yes.
So it was kind of a tour of festivals and traveling around, making my dreams come true. And of course, that's just been postponed, not cancelled. And so I found myself, looking at a few little projects. Everything is solo at the moment.
Yeah.
And for me, it's really important. I've always had a connection to new music, to living composers. And so that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm doing a project with a young composer from the Sydney Con. He's writing me a solo cello work for his portfolio. And I have a project called the Hatched Academy at home, which is also working with young artists.
Yes.
One Queenslander, Anna Rabinowitz, I think her name is. She is, we're having essentially Zoom tutorials, and she's writing a work, and we're just looking at exploring the possibilities of the cello. And then I have another boy from Melbourne also who is involved with that academy. And it's all digital, and it's all based around solo instruments, but it's still about connecting with people and making sure the music still goes. While we can't be sharing the physical performance, you can definitely share an educational aspect.
Oh, definitely. It's almost a silver lining because it gives you a bit more time to think about these things, and and sort of forcing you to look at more solo cello repertoire than you would have if it hadn't happened.
Yes, definitely more, and creating more, actually. So since COVID started, I've commissioned 4 new solo works for cello.
Fantastic.
To just keep people writing. And for me, there's not really enough solo repertoire in the Australian canon, you could say.
Yeah,
I've played a lot of it, and I've recorded a lot of it, which I'm very lucky to have done. But I'm sort of running out of pieces now, so I've decided to start focusing my energies on more commissions.
It reminds me of Ravel writing that piano concerto just for the left hand when the concert pianist hurt his right hand, isn't it?
I know, that's right. You know, these things, these collaborations are wonderful, and I spend some time on Zoom talking to composers, the more established composers, about how we might do it, what we might do, what the outcomes will be, and what's the point really of doing it.
That's
so I've quite enjoyed that. But of course, the product of that in the long run will be a few months, if not a year away. But I'm happy with that. We're in development stages at the moment.
Absolutely, yes. And do you have any more performances with the Melbourne Digital Concert Hall coming up?
At the moment, I don't.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, I did have a concert coming up with Teddy Tahu Rhodes, the wonderful, wonderful singer. But as of yesterday, the borders between New South Wales and Victoria were closed. So unfortunately, we're interstate. And that concert literally was cancelled yesterday. So it's another one to add to the junk pile, even in a digital world.
Yeah, you're not in one of the one of the bad areas, are you? Are you closed down at all?
No, I'm not. Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's.
But you know, I fear it's only a matter of time. I'm pretty close. I'm in South Melbourne at the moment.
Yes.
And there's nothing too bad happening down here. However, many of my friends who are living in North Melbourne and up are locked down at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm very much staying at home at the moment.
Oh, definitely.
Quite self-isolating on purpose because I just don't see the point in making a risk.
No, that's right.
Taking a risk.
Giving your cello some attention and practicing, huh?
Well, maybe, I don't know. Perhaps not as much as I should be, but
there's always time for another coffee.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, at the moment, I've kind of given myself a bit of permission to relax. You know, again, without lots of deadlines, which I'm used to, and a sort of a flow with those deadlines. I don't really. I'm not judging myself by any means by not spending hours a day at the cello. Because there's nothing, you know, the outcomes aren't there for me at the moment. And so even with these development things with composition or with the emerging composers academies and things, that's a very different field of expertise than
Mm.
it is from performing at a high level. So
Absolutely.
there's still things happening which are keeping my brain going.
Yeah.
But yes, certainly the sort of constant upkeep of high level cello playing is a little bit slower than it should be.
Yeah.
That it would normally be, I should say, not
Yeah,
should
absolutely.
be. But I'm happy with that. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to get a break, isn't it? And
Yeah,
sort
I
of
didn't
stand
think the
back
break
and-
would be 4 months, possibly a year, but here we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you for chatting, Blair. I'm really hoping, I'm very positive that we're going to be back on stage in October with Slava.
Me too.
We're going to perform that at QPAC and hopefully take it to Bangalore and also do our Seniors Week regional Queensland tour. So that's the plan. I'm crossing fingers it's going to happen. So
I'm looking forward to all of that. It's going to be so amazing.
Yes, and
Fingers
we'll have to
crossed.
make a big party as well because, you know, we haven't really celebrated our 25th birthday yet. So
No, that's right, exactly.
so you're in charge of party planning, Blair.
You know what? Well, actually, you know me well enough to know that I'm very, very good at
You're
that.
good at parties.
So it'll be fun.
Great.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
we'll chat soon, but
Indeed.
we'll be definitely seeing you for our party in October.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Tania.
See you
Bye,
later.
everybody.
Bye.